What's going to word adu danu segu sawagwegu? Jordan Sakarunya Montour Ujats. Hello everyone and thanks for tuning into my application video. My name is Jordan Sakarunya Montour. I'm a member of the Kanien'kehá:ka or Mohawk Nation of the Iroquois Haudenosaunee Confederacy. I grew up in Kahnawake, Quebec, a Mohawk res just outside of Montreal, which is where I am filming in from now. I'm currently a second year at the business school at Yale University, where I'm set to be receiving my MBA in the spring of 2024. As far as my skills go, professionally, they're mostly oriented around finance, investing, venture capital, and entrepreneurship. Prior to my time here at Yale, I was employed at a multi-family investment office in San Francisco, where I did a lot of venture-based investing. Prior to that, I was at a firm called Cambridge Associates in Boston that was very focused on institutional investment and portfolio management. Before that, I was at a firm called Deutsche Bank on Wall Street in New York. And I also attempted to co-found a Native American and Indigenous community-focused consultancy that was intending to help tribes and communities with economic development initiatives and institutional investing portfolios. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out, but that is what brought me to Yale. And I think speaks to my passion, which is serving First Nations and Native American communities, both in the US and Canada, with finance, investing, and portfolio management. Once I'm finished with my MBA at Yale, I hope to get very directly involved in managing tribal portfolios and investing in and on behalf of different Indigenous communities across both Canada and the US. As far as my interests and passions outside of work and school goes, I think they're mostly oriented around being outside. I love doing anything outside, such as running, hiking, skiing, canoeing, kayaking, swimming, cycling. Just love being outside, I love camping. I feel most at peace when I'm outside, kind of in the natural world. It's when I feel most myself. I also enjoy endurance sports. So I've now done 5 triathlons, 2 marathons, one of which was a trail marathon, a couple of cycling and biking races and events and things. So I just love trying to stay active and being outside. I'm an avid hockey, rugby, and lacrosse player. While I'm here at Yale, I serve as the co-captain of our hockey and rugby teams. So those are fun things to stay involved in. And some newer interests include playing guitar. So in the past 6 months or so, I've started picking up playing guitar, which for full transparency is going quite slowly and with some bumps in the road, but a process I'm enjoying a lot. And another is Iroquois style beadwork. So my grandmother was a master beadworker here in Kahnawake, and her name was Gail Albany. And so I'm trying to pick up the torch that she left off for me, and I've been learning how to beadwork. And this shirt that I'm wearing is actually a piece that I beaded myself. So it's not very good, but one of the things that I like to spend my time doing. What single accomplishment am I most proud of? It's a tough one, not because I have so many accomplishments that I'm incredibly proud of, but it's hard to, pinpoint one thing. So what I would say is I'm proud of the accomplishment that I made in getting myself out into the world. And what I mean by that is I left Kahnawake to go to school in the United States. I went to Dartmouth College, where I graduated in 2017. I was the first in my family to go to college. Still the only one from my immediate family who's left Kahnawake. And I'm not proud of leaving Kahnawake. In fact, I really want to find a way to get back to live in my community some time in the near term. But I am proud of myself for being versatile, adaptable, and resilient, um, and going off and studying in the U.S., being really out of my element, profoundly uncomfortable and unfamiliar with both my surroundings, my environment, as well as the people there, who are very different from me culturally, socioeconomically, racially, in just a number of ways. And I wasn't the smartest or brightest when I was in school here in Ganawage on the reservation growing up. I think I was just constantly and incessantly curious about the world around me, and not afraid of failure, and not afraid of being uncomfortable, and just willing to broaden my horizons. And that opened up a whole bunch of new doors for me in the world, and allowed me to study at places like Dartmouth and Yale University, where I am now. And has afforded me many opportunities in my career that others don't have. So while I'm concurrently trying to find things that do bring me back home, I am also proud of the big risk and the big jump that I made, because it just broadened my view of the world in a really cool and special and fortunate way. So the impact that I hope to have on Indigenous communities, both in Canada and the US, is mostly centered around economic development and investing, both in and on behalf of First Nations and Native American communities. So my background is in investing, portfolio management, and I've built up this body of experience doing it for non-native institutions and organizations and individuals. And after my time at Yale, when I get my MBA, I'm planning to engage very directly in tribal portfolio management. So what I mean by that is community funds, large pools of capital that work for and are owned in part by members of an entire community. I want to help invest that for them. So build out a really rigorously constructed and managed multi-asset class investment portfolio consisting of hedge funds, private equity funds, venture capital, real estate, stocks and bonds as needed, and build world-class portfolios for Indigenous tribes, and then find very specific ways to make those investment returns work in favor and constructively for the community. I think there's a lack of knowledge sharing amongst different Indigenous communities about how they manage and invest their tribal assets. And so I really hope to be kind of a pipeline between different communities where I can help them share knowledge and compare notes, develop kind of a set of best practices that can be applied to different communities everywhere. And I think that will go a really long way towards helping tribes achieve economic sovereignty and self-sufficiency, which is something that I think is very important, both in Canada and the U.S. So that's the big one that I hope to do right out of school here. But longer term, I'm very, very interested in doing tribal entrepreneurship more generally. So direct stimulation of tribal economies by creating businesses and companies and jobs on reservations and in Indigenous communities, so that folks can stay close to their families, their cultures, the land and the people that they grew up on and around, and still be able to pursue meaningful, significant, and substantive careers. So they don't have to go off and live in Boston and San Francisco and New York, like I felt like I've had to in my career. And that's simply a product of the lack of employment and professional opportunities that are present in my reservation, and I feel like a lot of others in Canada. So I hope to very directly create those types of opportunities that folks can strive for, that's closer to home and culture. Um, yeah, and that's why I'm so interested in the Indigenous Leadership Circle. Is I'm always just so eager to meet other ambitious and talented Indigenous professionals from around Canada, who are like-minded and want to be doing cool things with interesting people. And I would just be so eager and fortunate to be involved with a group like this. So I'd like to thank you very much for your consideration of my application. Um, Hoping to become more involved and deeply engaged in the future.